Welcome back to the UPDL Season 2, and Week 7 brings my team, the Glowboro Kings, into fatal combat with Coach Allen's Commonwealth Chandelures. Let's get right on into this by ripping down his team, as in breaking it apart. On the roster, we're starting with two, not one, but two four-legged fiends of the tiers, Chempao and Landorus T. Two four-leg quadrupedal behemoths in draft. Chempao with that crazy breaking power. Whether you scarf him or band him or boot him, who cares? He's still going to hit you like a truck. And Landorus T can do anything. He can rip that scarf. He can defog you. He can have an AV. He can pivot all over you. He can hit you with earthquakes. He could have power herb fly for my Slither wing. You never know what's coming out of Landorus T other than that ever-present intimidate, which is always a little hurdle in team building. Next up, we got Glowboro, the hazard stacker extraordinaire. Toxic spikes and poison spikes. It's just horrible. Rapid spin with a little poisonous flare on it, and mortal spin. Meteor beam sets using its good speed and special attack to hit you when you're expecting some spiky spikes. It's certainly a mon to deal with. It's also really big on this screen for some reason. Next up, we got Don Dozo, the big fish, who's actually the smallest guy on screen, but don't let that fool you. This guy's HP stat is something like 150 with defenses to boot. Rest talk sets, wave crash, liquidation, flip turn. It can yawn on you, it can curse up. This thing is a fish to watch out with, especially with that pure water typing, really helping it live as a bulky threat. Screamtail, the terrorist. This thing, 111 speed, it outspeeds everybody but Tony T on my team. And you know what? It's got everything to make your day horrible. It can run a choice item and a trick. It can run Thunderwave. It can run Parasong. It can run Encore, Taunt. It can Moonblast you. It can have like a fast metronome and hit you with who knows what not even it knows. Definitely a terroristic little creature there. And I was really worried about this because there's no good answer other than killing it. And it's got like 115 HP, 111 speed. It's fast and it's got the bulk to get a couple turns off, especially with an pretty alright typing. Next up, Archaludon can run that special attacking or physical set with body press. And you know what? That power herb, thank God I'm running a sun team with a lot of grass types, because that power herb electro shot is real scary. I've also got Clodsire to deny it, but if it gets going, it's a real problem. Next up, we've got Breloom, Goodnight Fisher. Thank God I'm running no water types as well, because, this guy is going to put you to sleep and then bullet seed you. What's that? Circle punch? Mega punch? Quintuple punch? You know the move. It's not good. He's not going to use it. Anywho, Spore's a real threat. That loaded dice, skill link, what have you, also a real threat. Thankfully, again, the grass types are helping me out here with that immunity to Spore, but still a threatening little toadstool nonetheless. Landorus T popping in, not even giving us the pleasure of fading in. He's got Prankster, he's got Thunderwave, he's got Volt Switch, Defog. He's got a pretty solid special attack and speed tier. Definitely somebody to be watching out for. Mega Camerupt. He's Mega Camerupt. He is that guy. Maybe he's taking quad damage from water, he's taking ground weaknesses, but he's that guy, and he's going to hit you with that eruption. It's not going to be fun, especially if somebody like Screamtail gets my Trick Room up. Don't want to deal with that, dog. For Rigoraph, Terra Steel, if I'm remembering correctly. It's bulky, and it's got like Yawn, it's got that Armor Tail to deny Cryo, it's got pretty strong psychic attacks and normal attacks. It can wish up and protect to support itself and the teammate. It's a good darn mon. You gotta respect the Farigiraf. Next up, Spidops, the OG, the emissary here. He's got the sticky web, he's got the spikes, he's got the topic spikes. This team has a lot of hazards between Glowboro and Mr. Spidops. He's also got Silk Trap, which if you forget about, like I always do, because unfortunately Spidops, it's not the most memorable mon. He's not exactly going on any plaques anytime soon. Sorry, buddy, as much as I love you. If you forget about that Silk Trap, though, you put a Hornleak Shadow Ogerpon or something into it. Maybe you wouldn't put a Hornleak Shadow Ogerpon, you probably put an Ivy Coach. But you get the idea, Somebody hits you with a physical attack, and now all of a sudden you're slow. Somebody else switches in, and no good. Especially with the already pretty solid speed tiers. You can use Spidops' Sticky Web and Silk Trap speed control. Yeah, sure, he might die quickly, but he's going to be able to maneuver somebody else in who might be able to divest a little bit out of speed and into more attack or bulk to set up with. He's a good enabler, especially with toxic spikes, like that Spite Ops fella. Next up, we got the Dugong, who has no good gifts on the internet of him. Maybe. Actually, I'm lying. I found it. Regardless, Dugong, he got that Perish Song, Flip Turn, Whirlpool. I don't know, it's Dugong. It can turn into a dragon type. It's a baller pick. It's fucking Dugong. What else do I have to say? It's Dugong. I love him. Look at him. Look at that guy. There's nothing behind those eyes, but you know what? Nothing but a beautiful draft pick. Lovely team out of the Commonwealth Chandelures here. And with that all being said, let's get on into what I prepared to bring to this fight. Moving on. First off, before we go any further, just thank you to anybody who's watching. And if you do like this content, leave a like, let me know. Leave a little subscribe. Leave a comment even. I really appreciate y'all for watching this, my little council of 20 peeps. So thank you. And without further ado, let's get to what we're really here for, which is, of course, big Mr. Claude Sire. Remaining deeply aware of all things, because we're running water absorbed instead of unaware for the 4th week in a row. Got that black sludge again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we changed something here. We've got earth power on there, which is a bit of a mix-up from that typical earthquake. We got Stealth Rock Recover and Yawn as well, making this a very hard support set. We've got Water Absorb, of course, for these two, the Dozo and the Gong. Their stab is nullified by that Water Absorb. Of course, Dugong's got that like loaded dice icicle spear that we don't want to talk about or think about. We're just not going to worry about it. We've got Yawn, which lets us take care of some of those big threats. Archaludon and Thunderous are going to struggle to do good damage into Mr. Claude Sire. Of course, Archaludon's got that body press for his physical side, which we resist, and Electro Shot and Flash Cannon, and just any special attack Claude Sire is going to be able to take care of pretty well. Mr. Tornadus, Thunderous, Blunderous, Gumgundurous got Electric Stab and not too much else. And if it hits like Chien-Pao or some other threatening guy on the switch in, hey, I ain't going to complain. And finally, that Earth Power is specifically so that we can muscle through Mr. Archaludon without triggering Stamina, and also hit Glamora without triggering Toxic Debris, allowing Claude Sire to actually do more damage on the calc for both of them, and to avoid the negative side effects of their ability, and prevent these two demons from demoning all over me. Next up, we got Jaundice Dog back here with a Life Orb set and a motley array of attacks, because what the hell was I cooking with 84 special attack and 252 attack, 156 plus speed, Steel Beam, Vacuum Wave, Extreme Speed, and Hydro Kick? What was I thinking? I honestly don't know. I don't remember why I cooked it like this at all. I just knew that I had to bring Mr. Jaundice Dog because I needed that Vacuum Wave for Mr. Chien-Pao. I mean, it's just the insurance policy. Especially if I got Rocks Up from Claude Sire, there's kind of nothing you can do outside of, is it a Choppleberry that reduces fire? That might be fighting fire, blah, blah, blah. Outside of the Fighting Resist Berry, there's not much that Mr. Chien-Pao can do. The Vacuum Wave will just one-shot it. Anywho, we got E-Speed to take care of some of those faster threats. Chien-Pao showing up again, and it can maybe pick off one of those Mons if they're lower, and you know, they're a fighting resist, like Screamtail and Landorus T over here. As Steel Beam can rip an Oko here, it again doesn't trigger that Toxic Debris out of Glamora, and you know what? It gets that Screamtail terrorism gone. So if it gets that off, it gets that off. But mainly this guy's here to be a Vacuum Wave merchant. Next up, we got Slither Wing here, one of my favorite sets of the season. We got Citrus Berry with defense on there, max defense with a little bit of special defense trickled in. Leech Life, Morning Sun, Whirlwind, and Will-O-Wisp. This guy's job is to sit on the field and apply Will-O-Wisp to these annoying physical attackers and just make them non-problems. If he gets a Will-O-Wisp on any of these guys, he's happy. And it helps that the only way that any of these can hit him for stab super effective damage is Landorus with like Power Herb Fly. I think that's literally the only way. I don't think Chien-Pao can hit him super effectively at all. I want to say that Dondozo gets Zen Headbutt, but if you're running Zen Headbutt for Slitherwing, wow, good team building. It's just not something I'd necessarily expect. And some good natural special bulk helps it in the scenario that Archaludon is special attacking electroshock. Moving on, Whirlwind is on there both to allow him to spread the love of Will-O-Wisp and trigger some damage out of those rocks that Clodsire is hoping to put up. Morning Sun and Leech Life are mainly there to keep him alive. Leech Life, of course, doing some extra damage and doing actually really solid chunking into Shenpao, if that so comes to it. Next up, we got Tawny T again. Choice Scarf this week around with a rash nature. No speed investment, but max special attack. And this lets him outspeed everybody, Mr. Shenpao included. U-turning on it for like 40%. The Grass Knot and Sludge Bomb are here just to hit some fringe cases. And that Icy Wind lets him kill his brothers pretty dead. I mean, Thunderous can live an Icy Wind or two, but not forever. Especially taking those slows is not ideal. And then, without any investment, it's an absolute one-hit KO into poor old Landorus T. So he's out for blood, he's out for his brothers. We'll see if he gets it. Next up, Torkoal once again running a Custap Berry, Endure, Rapid Spin, Overheat, and Hidden Power Water. You can hear me, I'm drowning under all this HP water. Now, hazard removal here, it's just super important. I mean, look at those guys. You got Stealth Rocks out of Lando, you got everything out of Glamora, you got rocks out of Big Funny Camel, and you got Mr. Spidops in the back with like almost every single hazard, including Sticky Web, so you don't want to let them rack up. And seeing as we got the Scarf on Tornadus already, we definitely want that Rapid Spin. And Endure is here to make sure that absolutely happens. That there ain't no way that those hazards are keeping up. And of course, he's running the issue of not being able to switch in without those heavy duty boots if those rocks do come up. But that is something we gotta hope for. 252 HP and 252 plus special defense, just so that he can live kind of whatever hits come at him. And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you guys. Hidden Power Water, I don't know why I put Hidden Power Water on this guy. He gets Scald. So I don't know why HP Water was on this set. I don't know what I was cooking. I don't know what I was trying to heat up, what I was trying to boil with that heat and water on the set. But you know what? It's a mystery for the ages. Put that in the books. They're going to be studying this like they study the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs in a couple thousand years. Of course, also Custap Overheat could be a potentiality if it comes up. Able to, I believe, one-shot that Shenpao and Breloom. So another little way for this guy to work out. Moving on to our last team member, Ogerpon Hearthflame. She got the Hearthflame Mask. She got the Adamant. She got the Mold Breaker. She got 104 speed. I think this is speed crept to outspeed everything except, well, Miss Screamtail, who you just can't outspeed if it's max, so why bother? Taunt is here. Ooh, you didn't see that. Trailblaze is here to help outspeed those mons that are a little bit faster than it, like Scarflando and all the others base. I believe 104 speed actually probably outspeeds maybe Scarflanders. It might be the calc. I would have to check, but maybe I'll put that here. Or maybe not, maybe I'm lazy. Anywho, Taunt allows Ogerpon to just put a little wrench in the plans of some of these status move users. No rocks or hazards out of the first two. And disabling Screamtail Terrorism is nice. Also resisting Screamtail's Moonblast is nice. Not that those special attacking or physical attacking sets aren't that strong. Getting the Spite-Ops, pretty much forcing it out of there because you don't want Spite-Ops to sit in front of an Ivy Cudgel. And Dugong, of course, can turn off, like, I don't know, Perish Song, Toxic, whatever Dugong is here to do. Kind of the scary thing about Dugong here is I don't know what Dugong's going to do. It's Dugong. I didn't look too deep into it. But that's for the replay to tell us. And of course, the bonk, that Ivy Cudgel is going to hit nice. It can hit a sturdy Archaludon for a 2-hit KO, I believe, on a non-defensive set with, of course, good rolls. And it can one-hit the other three pictured there, Shenpao, Spite-Ops, and Breloom. And you know what? Ogre Pawn, one of my higher point picks, one of my kill leaders, is just always a good mon to have. This thing hits like a truck, especially if Torkoal gets the sun up. It's going to be real nice. And with all of my team and their methodologies out of the way, let's get on into the replay. Hoppa! Alright, cracking on into the replay. We got a bunch of people that we were expected and ready for. The only big missing piece here is that Archeldoon, which I'm very happy not to see staring across the screen at me. And with that, let's get on into her. Glowboro lead, imaginable. Now, of course, let's not spoil it yet. We don't know if this thing is going to be a hazard stacker or a meteor beam kind of guy. And you know what? Tornadus, as fast as it may be, does not want to find out either. That meteor beam could put him to an early grave. So we U-turn and we send out Clodsire, immediately picking up that toxic spike. He's a little bit happier to see that power gem, only doing 13% there, healing off half of it as well. Now, the Lando T comes out and eats the earth power for breakfast. The attack don't matter though because we got EP, and Slitherwing comes out. Knockoff. Now, of course, we do have to worry about the power herb fly here, but we get knocked off and U-turned. It's sad to see the citrus berry go, but it's not too sad to see mango come out here. And we got our first physical attacker burned. Slitherwing already doing his job as intended. Beautifully here. Now, Dondozo with a burn is very happy news here, because this thing cannot as easily press wave crashes for free. And of course, we can also, after taking this Yawn and Whirlwind, swap back into Clodsire. I would have done that on Dozo too, but we do that here. And of course, Glamora is not really a big threat here. Dondozo comes out. The worst thing that's happening here is an Earthquake, which isn't even that bad, especially with some defense EVs. And we get the Wave Crash because we're expecting Unaware. Or we being, of course, Alan. Another Earth Power goes out, and that Earthquake's only doing 22%. And you know what? We don't mind 22%. We can recover and leftovers heal, Black Slug Shield, that all always. So far, so good. Looking at turn 9, keeping on going. Rocks on both sides as well. Yawn going up on a burn opponent because I'm a fool. Don't worry. I'm going to make more Yawn misplays later on in this match, so keep tuned. Burn chipping down, a Yawn comes out, and Clodsire is getting real sweepy. Another little bit of chip with that burn and EP. No special defense drop, unfortunately. Slitherwing comes out because it feels pretty confident, seeing only wave crashes come out, and earthquakes, which it resists. The drowsiness is here, and we just heal up in front of this dual super effective stab Screamtail. Because honestly, Screamtail's offenses just don't scare me that much. I'm full HP invested, and I know that like 65-65 split on special attack and attack, it's not making me that scared. Anyways, we let the Duke of Flies fall asleep, initiated sleep claws for our team. Ogre Pawn comes in here for a potential Dazzling Gleam. It would have probably been fine if it was a Psychic as well, just a little less. And a T-Wave here is really unfortunate. We've got one of our big powerhouses at half speed. Our dreams of outspeeding any of these other Pokemons after Trailblaze is kind of dying. Of course, we can still be useful with an Ivy Cudgel too. And we take another Dazzling Gleam for Peanuts, and we hit a nice 44% off the Ivy Cudgel, gets healed back. And at this point, Ogre Pawn is not looking all too necessary. Of course, it can hit Chien-Pao real hard, but Chien-Pao is going to outspeed in one shot with ease. And it can Horn Leech into that burnt Dondozo, but even then we have other ways of dealing with that thing. It's already not as much of a threat, and I think at this point has it shown that it probably doesn't have rest, seeing as it probably would have rested off that burn long ago. So we can be pretty confident in saying that Ogre Pawn is not necessarily that necessary. We can just kind of press the old Ivy Cudgel until it goes away, as long as nothing comes in to set up. Now, we do actually end up getting the kill on that Dondozo here. A little bit of health, not that's going to matter much. And Glamor comes up, threatening an easy power gem, one-hit KO. I guess it's not one-hit, seeing we've been battered a little bit. But Chub comes out because it's a free Glamora switch-in. And this Farigiraf comes in, and we yawn it. And now, if I'm not mistaken, is... Oh, no. That's later on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Peanuts out of that earth power, and it falls asleep. The light screen up, we get the Lando swap, and I think we do the double swap into the Slitherwing. Knowing that we don't have that power of fly or neutral nest, we know that Slitherwing with some defense can kind of just sit here, resisting that earthquake. It doesn't care about that U-turn. Big chillin', waking up and hitting that Will-O-Wisp. So now we got our second physical attacker, burned Will-O-Wisp, going absolutely crazy into this matchup. A U-turn, which is not enough. Screamtail coming out. And we get a beautiful Morning Sun off here for 85%. Screamtail, of course, threatening super effective damage, but not that much with some good natural bulk. Encore getting us up to full. And with Screamtail, of course, showing a Dazzling Gleam and no Psychic so far. And was that the first Thunderwave? No, and also having Thunderwave shown earlier. Oh yes, of course, into Ogre Palm. How could I forget? We have an easy Clodsire in. At this point, Clodsire is feeling super good this game, especially with the two Earthquakers burnt and one of them dispatched. He is feeling quite happy to do as he pleases. The only real threat is that Farigiraf taking a Psychic Noise. Honestly, a Psychic Noise would be horrible for this thing, because then he doesn't have his health back. But this is a pretty free swap for Mr. Clodsire. He can sit here and just press an Earth Power for pretty much free. The Intimidate going down, and we actually pull the swap, assuming that Lando would come in to eat the Earth Power. And this is great, because we're poised up with a Burnt Pineapple here, Lando T, and Icy Wind hitting quad effectiveness. Possibly gonna kill here. And we hit that Icy Wind, and it hangs on by 1%, getting that speed lowered and hitting a critical hit knockoff. And poor Lando goes down. It was, in fact, an Assault Vest Lando T, which is quite funny. And you know what? It worked. It did significant chunk to Torny and got rid of that Choice Scarf, allowing Glowboro to come in a little easier here. Of course, Mr. Torny, this is still... Actually, no. In this case, the Glowboro could be much faster because this is completely uninvested in speed. Moving onwards with it, we hard swap Clodsire because it's what you do. And we get that Mortal Spin. The rock's going off, but the guy is right back to put him up. The Rockman cometh back. And Earth Power finally comes out here. We've had this matchup, Glowboro versus Clodsire, but we haven't seen Earth Power yet, and I wonder if it's because we have, of course, the Slitherwing to resist it, as well as the Tornadus to swap in on it. But we finally take it, and we take a solid chunk because this is a more defensive than specially defensive Clodsire. So 41% is no joke. We yawn this thing. And if you'll remember, the Farigiraf is asleep, so that's a Sleep Claws Blunder, as we will see right here as it hits into effect. Sleep Claws mod activated. Now that's a big forehead slammer. I think I literally did facepalm when I did this, because it's a silly mistake to make, but right now we're in a pretty happy position. Two real big threats in Landorus and Dondozo being dispatched, so it's not the end of the world, especially where we're relatively sufficient. Earth Power doing about 44%. If that's a low roll, then maybe he can 2-hit KO Chubb here. But we're probably looking okay. That time 39, so 44 might be on the higher end of the rolls, which means we're very okay. A Mortal Spin coming out instead of the kill is interesting there. I don't know if I would make the same play, but it's fair enough, especially if it gives you the chance. But here we finally Earth Power and kill that Grape off. The Stealth Rocks are up on our side, and this Shenpao is going to not allow Clodsire to do anything. And honestly, it's Shenpao. You don't want to switch in on Shenpao. I tell you... Actually, no. I do want to switch in on Shenpao. Ice Spinner, and we live it pretty handily at 39%. We Leech Life here instead of going for the Will-O-Wisp, which I think is the right play. Especially granted that we probably would live whatever comes out of Shenpao. Of course, a burnt Shenpao is a dead Shenpao in many regards, but we did what we did. We get Encore into the second Leech Life, and you know what? It's what I had pressed anyways. Even hitting neutral with no investment, it hit 28% into a rather bulky thing. Chubb comes in to eat that Dazzling Gleam or Thunder Wave. It's just a really nice in to have here. Farigiraf, of course, goes out, critting on that nice special Earth Power. Still asleep. We put the rocks back up for Shenpao later, because if this thing is sashed, it's still got it up. And we want that Lucario in the back to be able to Vacuum Wave. Now, Papaya is going to wake up in a turn or two here, but we're going to do as much as we can. Chubb will probably get one shot, seeing as we don't have much special defense. Earth Power bringing him down to 1%. So close to the kill, but Papaya wakes up and bombs him with a big ol' psychic. We get the kill on the return here, but there's not much left. Shenpao can come up, and we see it's not heavy-duty boots, and now we're not worried about a sash, because that sash would be broken on account of the rocks. And we let Clodsire take a well-needed rest. Good job, my guy. Big Chub. Ultra Pestilent comes in. It's a free chip for the swap and Vacuum Wave, so why not? I have enough mons that I can swap into and sack, and we know this thing isn't going to set up, so it's not a big threat. Mr. Thread coming out here because he can overheat to kill here, and I think a half an overheat after the special attack drop will kill that Mr. Chen Powers, the little feisty, icy kitten in the back there. Thunderwave comes out. It's Torkoal. I've already got like 30 speed. What am I going to do? Lose the race more? We get that kill. Torkoal up in his ante, getting that KD up. Another 25% out of that banana there. And Crunch, we live it. We get parried. It's tough. Now, we're in Custap range right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think Custap is a third. We get paralyzed before the Shenpao moves. And we see the freak out of the chat here. It was, in fact, Custap overheat, y'all. Mr. Ultra Pestilence, Jaundice Dog himself, comes in with the good old Vacuum Wave to ring it out. His job, as it always was meant to be. And, great match. Alan, lovely team. I like the way you piloted it. You sniped Screamtail from me, and I didn't forget that. I put my all into this. And honestly, I'm just glad that my two best cooks here were the defensive members of the team, Mr. Clodsire and Slitherwing, and they did exactly what they were meant to. Slitherwing crippled the entire team, and Clodsire sat there and spammed Earth Power with special attack. And that's what I really love about Draft. Taking the Mons and using them in substandard ways to good use is like what I'm here for. And as much as, you know, you can run the choice Scarf, Urshifu, or Banded, whatever you have every week. It's those little moments of, you know, Will-O-Wisp, Whirlwind, Slitherwing that makes me really, really love this format for Pokemon. Once again, Alan, the Commonwealth Chandelures. Great game. Have a great evening to you all. Or morning, midday, midnight, whatever time. It's evening as a recording. But goodbye, and thank you for watching.